Welcome to week 2 of Workout Wednesdays. This is Tim from Chorlton Personal Training, and I'm going to be taking you through the second workout in this series of bodyweight workouts designed for guys making a start in their strength training journey. If you haven't already done the first workout in the series, I suggest you pause this video now, go back and do the first workout, and then once completed, you can come back to this workout in a few days. If you performed last week's workout already, great job, and let's crack on with this second workout in the series. Okay, it's time to get warmed up. We're going to start with some arm circles, 10 backwards, 10 forwards, hip circles, 10 clockwise, 10 anti-clockwise, and then we're going to do some groundwork on the floor. And we're going to go through this a couple of times before getting into the main body of the session. Let's go. So after 10 nice big backwards arm circles, change direction, perform another 10 arm circles, this time going forwards. Arm circles are complete. Now perform 10 hip circles. Now change direction and perform another 10 hip circles in the other direction. Okay, so now for the groundwork, 10 shoulder taps to each side whilst on all fours, hands and feet, maintaining a nice straight posture. No sagging at the hips or piking at the hips, and then after that 10 lots of knees to elbows. So perform these shoulder taps in time with me while the video is playing. Pause the video if you need to check the technique beforehand, but we're looking for a straight line from the shoulders down to the ankles, and then take one hand off to touch the alternate shoulder like so. Once you've done 10, we're going to move on to the knees to elbows. Maintaining this body position, we're going to remove one foot from the ground and bring the knee to the elbow, and alternate legs for 10 repetitions to each side. And finally, 15 hip lifts. With the hip lifts, focus on driving the heels into the ground and take a pause at the top of each repetition for a brief moment to really squeeze the glutes. Okay, so that's round 1 of the warm-up done. We go through that, everything we've just done one more time before we get into the main body of the session. So as a reminder, we're doing 10 backwards arm circles, followed by 10 forwards arm circles, then we're going to do 10 hip circles, and then we're going to change direction and do another 10 hip circles in the other direction. So by now you should have moved on from the backwards arm circles onto the forwards arm circles. Hip circles. And now After 10 arm circles each way, it's time to perform 10 hip circles. And after 10 nice big circles, change direction and perform another 10 in the other direction. Shoulder taps, 10 to each side. As a reminder, if you do find these shoulder taps a little more on the demanding side, instead of resting on your feet, you can rest on your knees, which will make it an easier version for you. Remember, this is just part of the warm-up, so if you are finding it challenging, make it a little bit easier for yourself by going on your knees. Knees to elbows. As with the shoulder taps, the knees to elbows exercise is performed with 10 repetitions to each side. Try to keep a straight line, so don't pike your hips up and don't let them sag down either. And hip lifts to finish. Once again, we'll perform 15 repetitions of these hip lifts, driving the heels into the ground, pausing slightly at the top of each repetition to really squeeze the glutes at the top. Okay, warm-up complete. So now we've done the warm-up, it's time for the main body of the session. It's going to be a slight progression on last week's session, so just small increase in both volume and intensity, but it's going to be a manageable increase. We're going to start off in a very similar fashion to last week with the addition of one exercise. So we're going to begin with push planks, aiming for 10 reps, leading with your left arm. We're going to go into single leg glute bridges, 10 to 15 repetitions per side. We're going to go back to push planks, 10 repetitions, leading with your right arm this time. Then we're going to perform the feet elevated hip lifts, which we performed using the chair last week. We're going to perform 20 reps. We're aiming for 20 reps on each side, and then we're back to the push planks again. Okay, let's go. 10 push planks, leading with your left arm. Perform from the knees if these are too difficult. As mentioned, if these are too demanding, you can rest on your knees rather than your feet, and you're looking to keep a straight line from your shoulders, either all the way down to your knees if resting on your knees, or if on your feet, a straight line all the way from your shoulders down to your ankles. In other words, your hips should neither be sticking up nor sagging down. 10 to 15 glute bridges on each side. I'm going to start with my left leg and I'm going to shoot for 15. I'm performing 15 repetitions in the video here, but if you found these challenging, you can stop at 10 before changing legs. Right side. however many repetitions you performed on the left side, make sure you match that same number of repetitions on your right side now. And remember, you're aiming to really drive your heel into the ground and have a pause at the top of the repetitions to really squeeze the glutes. With the leg that's not working, try and keep your knee as closely tucked towards the chest as possible. Okay, push planks. This time leading with the right arm. Two options. You feet and hands as the point of contact like I am, or the easier version going from the knees, which would look like this. Okay, but I'm going to go from the feet. 10 repetitions here, remembering not to let the hips pike up too high or drop too low. Keep the hips nice and level. Good job. Okay, feet elevated, hip lifts. So we're shooting for 20 repetitions in the feet elevated hip lifts. The middle of the foot should be against your elevated object. A kitchen chair will work just fine. And at the bottom of the position, you can see we've got an approximate 90-degree bend at the knee and a 90-degree bend at the hip. That's what we're looking for. And the leg that's not working, try and keep that knee tucked towards the chest. At the end of the 20 repetitions, you're going to swap legs and perform another 20 repetitions on the other leg. So that's 20 repetitions complete. So we're now swapping legs, performing an additional 20 repetitions on the other leg. This is a great hamstring exercise. By elevating the feet onto a chair, it increases the tension placed on the hamstrings compared to the earlier hip lifts with the feet on the floor, which more emphasize the glutes. Okay, so we've completed one set of push planks on each, leading with each arm, glute bridges on each side, hip lifts with the feet elevated on each side, and we're going to repeat that sequence one more time. So remember, there are easier options. You can do the push planks from the knees, and if anything is a little bit more challenging, you can reduce the number of repetitions as well. Okay, let's go. So as mentioned just now and previously, there are easier options. With this exercise you can perform it from the knees, and you don't have to perform 10 repetitions as well, but I would encourage you to try and match the number of repetitions you performed in the first round. So if you did manage to get to 10, do everything you can do to try and get to 10 again on this round. But don't panic if you can't get to the 10 repetitions. Do what you can, as always. We're now performing the glute bridges. As I mentioned earlier, this version of hip lift with the feet on the floor emphasizes the gluteal muscles, the bum muscles a lot more, whereas the other exercise we perform with the feet elevated on a chair is much more of a hamstring exercise. So I'm shooting for 15 repetitions here. If you only got to 10 on the previous set, then perhaps stick with 10 repetitions, but do try and match the number of repetitions you performed first time round. Okay, so we're swapping legs here.
I'm going for another 15 repetitions on the other leg, driving the heel into the ground, pausing at the top and really squeezing the glutes during that pause at the top.
Push planks, leading with the right arm this time. Good job. Okay, now we're going to go back to the feet elevated hip lifts using a chair.
Once again, I'm performing 20 repetitions per side on these feet elevated hip lifts. Shoot for 20 repetitions also if that's what you managed to get to on the first time round. If not, try and match what you did manage. The points remain the same. The middle of your foot should be on the chair. At the bottom of the movement, you should have about 90-degree bend at the knee and about a 90-degree bend at the hips. Try and get your hips all the way up at the top, and with the leg that's not working, try and keep the knee relatively tucked close to the chest. At the end of your 20 repetitions, or however many repetitions you're shooting for, swap legs and repeat on the other side. So now we're on the second side now of feet elevated hip lifts.
Good job. Okay, so that's 2 rounds of that circuit complete, which is the end of the first circuit of the main body of the workout. We're going to move on to some different exercises now, most of which we performed last week, but there will be a new addition. And while you catch your breath, I will quickly demonstrate the various exercises we're going to be performing in the next section with more demanding and easier alternatives for you to choose from as well. So the first one will be the front plank. So you don't have to do these right now, just watch while I'm demonstrating, then we'll go into it and work out together afterwards. The standard version will be on your forearms and on your feet. An easier version will be on your hands and feet, and an easier version still will be going from the knees. With all versions, try and keep a straight line from the shoulders to the point of contact with the lower part of the body, whether that be the knees or the feet. So we don't want sagging hips and we don't want hiking up hips either. We're also going to be performing a side plank. This is the standard version. We can also perform an easier version with the knees bent and the knees being the point of contact with the floor. And the final exercise in the circuit will be a wall sit where we're looking for a 90-degree bend at the knees and a 90-degree bend at the hips, and try and keep the hands off the thighs. So maybe cross over chest or in a prayer position to avoid resting on the thighs. Okay, so those are the final 3 exercises we're going to perform. We're going to go straight into a 1-minute front plank. So you can choose from the 3 options I gave you. On your forearms with the feet in contact with the floor, on your hands with the feet in contact with the floor, or the easiest version, on your forearms with the knees in contact with the floor. Okay, 1 minute, let's go.
So you should be in your plank position along with me right now, and we're holding this for a minute, and having chosen one of the 3 options I gave you, the key point to focus on now is level hips. Don't let them pike up, don't let them drop down. Keep them in line with the rest of the body, a straight line from the shoulders all the way down to the knees or the feet, depending on which you are using as your point of contact with the floor. Don't forget, if you're enjoying these videos and you want to keep on progressing week on week with your strength training, then hit the subscribe button on my channel and you'll be able to follow each week's new program.
10 more seconds. Okay.
Good job. Next we're going to do a wall sit. Aim for 1 minute. If you can't make a minute, aim for at least 30 seconds or even 45 seconds if you can manage as much as that.
Remember, with these wall sits, we want the thighs to be parallel to the ground, which means there should be a 90-degree bend at the knees and a 90-degree bend at the hips, and we are not allowing the hands to support the thighs in any way. So to be strict with this, you can either have your hands in the prayer position, as I'm doing right now, or you can fold your hands across the chest as an alternative. Either option is fine, but do not allow them to venture onto your thighs.
Ten seconds left. Okay.
Good job. Okay, we're now going to go into side planks. Remember, you can have your feet in contact with the floor, or you can have a 90-degree bend at the knees and have your knees in contact with the floor. That would be the easier option. One minute hold. No, 30 seconds hold.
With these side planks, try and keep your hips nice and high, and with your top arm, try and have it up in the air like so in the video. Although if you are struggling somewhat, you can place the hands on the hips with this particular exercise.
5 seconds. Okay.
Good job. I'm going to do the other side.
Remember, if you've got any questions about anything in this video, just drop us a comment below and we'll answer your questions.
Okay.
Good job. Okay, back to the wall sit. If you did 30 seconds before, just aim to match that. If you got to 45, aim to match that. And if you got to the minute, aim to repeat that minute again.
So the same points apply again. We're looking for thighs parallel to the ground, which means 90-degree bend at the knees, 90-degree bend at the hips. Don't let your hands anywhere near the thighs. Either have them in a prayer position or cross them across the chest. These wall sits are a great quadricep strengthening exercise. So we've really got a well-rounded leg training session with the glute bridges, the feet elevated hip lifts, and now the wall sits. Each of these exercises have worked the glutes, hamstrings, and now quads respectively. So a well-rounded program for the lower body here today. Don't forget the upper body and core have been worked thoroughly as well, so it's a full body workout which you can repeat 2 or 3 times in the week. So have a couple of days off and then replay this video and work through the workout again before next week.
Finally, front plank, 1 minute hold again, 3 options. Forearms and feet as the points of contact, slightly easier, hands and feet as the point of contact, or easiest version still, forearms and knees as your 2 points of contact with the floor. Let's go for 1 final minute.
So this is the final bit of hard work for week 2 of Workout Wednesdays. No doubt you'll be feeling the fatigue now, but try and maintain good form still. Keep that straight line from your shoulders all the way down to your feet, or if you're doing the plank from your knees, keep that straight line from your shoulders to your knees. Don't let the hips drop, but don't let the hips pike up either. Good form to finish this workout off. Well done for making it this far. You've done a great job on week 2 of Workout Wednesdays.
Okay.
Is that the minute?
Yeah.
Good job. Congratulations on completing week 2 of Workout Wednesdays. Don't forget, ideally you should be performing this workout 3 times a week. So after a day or 2 of recovery, go back to this video, watch it through again, perform the video along with me, and then you'll be ready for week 3 of Workout Wednesdays on Wednesday next week. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and I'll also leave a link to the website chorltonpersonaltraining.co.uk. I'll leave that link in the description below as well. If you missed week 1, there'll also be a link to the week 1 workout in the description as well. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next week.